if you start by not lying to yourself, and then you start saying those things, then you start not lying to other people. And I think if you can decrease the friction between what you really think and what you say, it starts to create some virtuous cycle outside of you that starts to orient your behavior so that you actually start doing what you really think. And I have integrity, but in the truest sense, as one of my personal kind of goals. But it's jarring to people when you're just honest, and like really honest. Like, hey, do you want to go to this, to Sarah's birthday party? No. And they're like, what do you mean? You busy? They're like, no, I'm not busy, but I don't want to go. People have a hard time just saying no to things. And I would encourage you, if you're listening to this, like, try saying no to, try actually telling the truth when you don't want to do something. Because we have so many social niceties that we say, oh, I'm really busy, or it's a really bad time right now, or whatever. I had somebody the other day, I was with a friend, and I didn't notice that I did this. So sometimes it's nice to have somebody from the outside. And so somebody came up to me, we were looking at a real estate property, and someone knew I was going to be there and said, that guy showed up unannounced or whatever. And he was like, hey man, can we do a podcast? And I was like, I'm just in town, going to hang out with Layla for the next few days. Like, not really trying to do that. And he asked again, and he was like, hey, maybe like 20 minutes. We can just rock one out. And I was like, well, let me show you my calendar. And I pulled up my calendar, and it was all empty. And I said, see, there's nothing on there. And I was like, and I just want to keep it that way. And I didn't think anything of it, but apparently he left, and then my friend just starts crying, laughing, just thinking how hilarious. He's like, I can't believe you said that. That was so boss, blah, blah. And I was like, what is he talking about? He's like, you just showed him your calendar that you had nothing, and you were still like, you're still not going to get any of my time. And I didn't perceive any of this extra narrative that he added to it. But I think just being able to say no to stuff when people ask you for it, because people ask you for stuff all the time. It's these little nibs, these little tiny things. Hey, can you do this? Or hey, can we show up to this thing? Or hey, you're supposed to. Or hey, your aunt did that one thing for you, so therefore you owe her. And saying like, I don't subject myself to those rules. And I had a New Year's resolution, which I do believe in making resolutions. Like, why not? If you stick with them. And so one of my more recent ones was, there are no such thing as social obligations, only consequences. So you have no social obligations. You have social consequences, but you don't have social obligations. And so you have to go. I don't have to go. If I don't go, what will happen as a result? It decreases the likelihood they will invite me again, which is great because then I won't have to say no again. So this actually saves me time in the future. And so a lot of people don't play out the like, what happens if? It's like, oh, more of the thing that I would prefer, which is not getting invited to these stupid weddings, or not getting invited to these, Christs or whatever they're called, whatever the thing is. You probably know what the word I'm trying to say.
I do what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, kids getting circumcised, or I think.
Well, you go and watch it? It's like a viewing gallery?
That's a common thing. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Circumcisions.
I think it's a bris. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
All right.
Point being, if you say no and are honest about why you said no, people will be jarred, but then you get this muscle, when we're talking about that muscle of being authentic, which is just saying what you really think. And I think that when you do that, you unlock a certain level of confidence in yourself where you're like, oh, I didn't die. Oh, actually what I would prefer to have happened as a result of that. Oh, you know what? It's Friday night and I am going to get a good night's sleep because I do have a clear day tomorrow and I'm going to work my face off and I didn't have to go to Sarah's thing. And to me, that's like over time, I think I just do more and more and more of that, and it feels better and better and better.
It's funny that your friend saw that as a flex, that it was, and I can see why. And I think I would too. Oh my God, dude, like you totally owned him with that thing. Like you showed off the fact that you've got nothing. But really, if we're all being honest, if we didn't want to do it, that is the truth.
Right.
The only reason that it feels like a flex is that it's such a left turn from the social mores that people typically go through. I said this to you yesterday. Yeah. Dan Bilzerian's superpower is his frictionlessness from what he wants to his mouth. Say what you want about Dan, but he's lived very unapologetically. And that's, what are the things that you can get downstream from that? I mean, maybe you don't like his values or his principles. Maybe you think that he's a bad guy, or maybe you think he's worth more or less money than he actually is, all of these things. But what you can't say is that you don't trust the things that he does are not the things that he wants to do. And that commands a level of respect. That absolutely, and it should command a level of respect.
I actually think that when you live that way, people trust you more because their ability to predict your behavior.
100%. If I can't trust your no, how can I trust your yes?
And I think when people see you say no and then later say yes, your yes means a lot more.
Of course. If you want revenge for the bad things that have happened in your life, start with the version of you that hasn't lived up to your potential.
So I think a lot of us have the battle of the other self that we're the lesser version of ourself that we're trying to kill every single day. And so a lot of times we have this desire to point the blame finger externally, but wherever you point the finger of blame, power follows. And so whoever I blame for the life I have is the person who I give all the power over my existence, over my circumstances. And so it hurts, but if you turn the finger inwards and you start saying, I don't like my life. The person that I need to punish or get back at is the real person who got me here, which is me. And so you may be right that other people did certain things or you got dealt a bad hand. It also doesn't matter because the only thing that you can control is obviously the actions that you take. And the only person who's in control of that is you. And so the revenge porn is thinking about what the version of you who got you here did, and then acting in the exact opposite of that as many times as you possibly can. And the pain that you feel by rejecting the thing that you used to do that got you into this bad circumstance, that's the real revenge.
Everybody else, people, opinions, places, economy, politicians, policies, all of that, none of that's going to change. You can change. That's it.